News on Jimmy Kimmel and autism.
Jimmy Kimmel coming back to late night television.
ABC chose to bring back their low-rating nighttime host.
We are in for a monologue that will be a marker in late night show history.
A huge moment in American history.
It's one of the most pivotal moments in broadcast history.
He will be delivering what is being dubbed the most anticipated monologue in late night in years.
From Hollywood, it's Jimmy Kimmel Live. Tonight, Glenn Powell and music from Sarah McLachlan with Cleto and the Cletones. And now, Jimmy Kimmel.
Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted, I'm not sure who had a weirder 48 hours, me or the CEO of Tylenol. It's been overwhelming. I refused to do it, and then I made a lot of fun of Larry for suggesting it, and eventually Larry fired me, and I had to move back in with my parents. But even he wrote in to cheer me up. But some that I do especially want to mention are my fellow late night talk show hosts, my friend Stephen Colbert, who's found himself in this predicament. My boyhood idols, Howard Stern and David Letterman, were very considerate and kind, and I feel honored to be part of a group of people that knows what goes into doing a show like this. And I also want to thank all of you who supported our show, cared enough to do something about it, to make your voices heard so that mine could be heard. The other part.
But let me tell you, if the government gets in the business of saying,
what you can and can't say,
what you, the media, have said, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like, that will end up bad for conservatives.
And thanks for telling their followers that our government cannot be allowed to control what we do and do not say on television, and that we have to stand up to it. And that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. Should the government be allowed to regulate which podcasts the cell phone companies and Wi-Fi providers are allowed to let you download to make sure they serve the public interest? In addition to being a direct violation of the First Amendment, is not a particularly intelligent threat to make in public. You know who wrote that? FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who later was appointed chairman of the FCC by this former crusader for free speech. Now, a lot of people have been asking me if there are conditions for my return to the air, and there is one. Disney has asked me to read the following statement. I've done almost 4,000 shows on ABC, and over that time, the people who run this network have allowed me to evolve and to stretch the boundaries of what was once traditional for a late-night talk show, even when it made them uncomfortable, which I do a lot. Every night, they've defended my right to poke fun at our leaders and to advocate for subjects that I think are important by allowing me to use their platform, and I am very grateful for that. With that said, I was not happy when they pulled me off the air on one. He's suing them, he's bullying them. Over the weekend, his foxy friend Pete Hegseth announced a new policy that requires journalists with Pentagon press credentials to sign a pledge promising not to report information that hasn't been explicitly authorized for release. That includes unclassified information. They want to pick and choose what the news is. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow. If you believe in the teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply. And I hope it touches many. And if there's anything we should take from this tragedy to carry forward, I hope it can be that, not this. So thank you for listening, and I'll have more to say when we come back.
What about also those who say that you're being, in recent months, awfully thin-skinned?
I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one.
Welcome back to Jimmy Kimmel Live. We are still on the air in most of the country, except ironically for Washington, D.C., where we have been preempted. We are off the air in Nashville, New Orleans, Portland, Oregon.